but based on what I know, a lot of aging and like the perception of aging comes down to your telomeres, which is the end parts of your DNA. So if you know about your DNA, it's a little helix structure, if you remember, and it has ends on it, and those ends are called your telomeres. And what happens is these ends, they have like little caps, they shrink over the course of time because there's so much replication of the DNA, and that's how like you change new cells. And obviously when you get older, there's just more replication because time. And so every time you divide and replicate the DNA to create new cells, you're just taking away a little bit of that cap because there's just a little bit of damage, a little bit of damage, a little bit of damage. And so over the course of time, your DNA telomeres shrink, you get older physically, and your perception, like your perceived age, how you look, is also older. Now, when you exercise, when you take care of your body, when you're eating right, you prevent that DNA damage from happening at those telomeres. And so you protect the cap of the DNA, you protect the integrity of the DNA. So not only are you actually like being perceived younger, you're physically gonna be younger because your telomeres are actually intact, your DNA is intact. And so a lot of what I look at too is also genetically inherited diseases and like diseases that can be from DNA mutations, which if anybody knows out there, cancer is a genetic disease. So any sort of cancer is what happens when your own DNA gets damaged. So if we can find ways to protect that, why wouldn't we do that? We were going to protect against your age, just for like looks and appearances, but also against all diseases, cancers, heart disease risks, diabetes, insulin resistance, things that are really prevalent, especially in our American culture. We should be looking at that to see how we can protect against the development of these diseases. And so that's just one of the things I look at. But that was just a little scientific spiel of like, there is a physical manifestation within your biology that protects against your aging and against diseases. And so that one of the biggest drivers of that is going to be, one, fitness, like you're working out, and two, your nutrition, to actually protect and give yourselves the nutrients and the vitamins you need to repair and recover and not be weak in your physical DNA and your physical biological processes.
Love that. That's great. Listen to that one more time there.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that's a little bit confusing. I try to put it in a way to where it's like it's understandable.
Very understandable.
It's a very complex topic, but yeah. So I'm starting to like learn and find my voice to at least project that. But hopefully that made sense.
Yeah.
I think
Andy gave you guys the science. I think what you need to understand is that if you just want to live a longer life and feel younger and look younger, just exercise 20 minutes a day. Everyone's got time for that.
Yeah. So
everyone's
long story short, yeah, just work out, be healthy, try to do something, and I promise you'll be healthier. You're going to be reducing your risk for all cause mortalities by a lot. So yeah.
I have a question for you.
What's up?
So if you had, let's say somebody that they're just feeling a little lost right now. They don't know kind of like what they want to do with fitness. They don't really know where to start, what to eat, or like anything. They don't know what to start, right? They've never really looked into it. What would be like 3 things that someone can do today to just become a healthier individual?
To become a healthier individual for themselves.
And I know that's very generic, healthy,
that is
right?
That is very generic. I'm going to give you 2 answers of the 3 things. I'm going to give you the basic answer, and then I'm going to give you the more like detailed answer. The basic answer is going to be move, drink water, and if you're someone that's overweight, eat less. Those are the 3 things if you're overweight. Now, what I will say is that will get you to be more fit and will give you a good starting point. I've been in a space where I'm very scientifically driven. So the way that I look at fitness now is you can either, in the world in general, you can either pay in 2 ways. You can pay with money or you can pay with time. And so if you're going to do it that way, the way I just mentioned, with being consistent, eating, finding out what your body feels good on, running on, like your food is fuel, so you're gonna learn what your body runs well on. All that stuff kind of takes time. The way you like to train, you're gonna have to try different training styles, this and that. All that stuff takes time, and that's the way I did it. And I think it's a great value to do that. You learn more about yourself. But if you're someone that does have the money and is looking for a more scientifically specific thing and like a greater stepping stone to where you can start from, I think getting your genetics screened is a very big, important health marker that you can do. And the reason, let me give you an example. So you take two people and one person eats on the carnivore diet, right? And the other person eats on a vegan diet. And both these people are so healthy. You look at, take the marathon runners or just ultra athletes. They're just really, really fit. And so you look at that and you're thinking, and you've seen these people probably out there too. It's like you got the vegan influencers, you got the carnivore influencers, and they're both very healthy. And you're confused now. And I remember that's how I started too. I'm like, well, how do I eat? I'm like, you got a vegan telling me I should be eating no meat. And I got a carnivore telling me I should be eating only meat. So what's the answer? And I think the answer is do what's best for you. And I think what's best for you is coded in your DNA. At least that's what I've been finding. And so there are genes in your body that would tell you if you're someone that's more susceptible to be a diabetic or like develop insulin resistance. So if that's you, you shouldn't necessarily be eating a bunch of carbs all the time because you're going to develop insulin resistance. Right? And so, but for me, I don't have that problem and I can eat a lot of carbs, whereas maybe I have higher risk for developing high cholesterol. I just put out a TikTok today that talked about familial hypercholesterolemia, which is basically an inherited genetic disorder in which your cholesterol levels are already elevated from baseline. And that's just genetics. So it wouldn't make sense to eat something like the carnivore diet if you already have high cholesterol because those meats have cholesterol levels in them. And so now you're looking at that. Let's say you have familial hypercholesterolemia, FH for short, and now you start the carnivore diet. Are you actually getting healthier? No. You might lose some weight, calorically wise. You might be getting more fit, but from a cholesterol and heart disease standpoint, you're not getting more healthy. You actually might be doing a little more damage to your body. And so I think there's a give and take. I think any diet that'll get you to be more fit is probably going to be healthier than the current diet you're eating. But I think there is a more detailed answer that the tools that will tell us these answers weren't developed until now, and they're being developed better currently. So I think this is just a starting point. I think we have a good baseline now of like where we could start, and then these tools are only going to get better and better from time. And so I'm excited personally because I've been like neck deep in the whole genetic space. I think it's going to be a big space later in all realms of health. I think it's. I mean, the human genome was just completed like, I don't know, not even a decade ago, basically. So we're still learning about it. We're still learning how to screen it. We're still learning how to analyze it. So I'm excited. I want to see what we can do for the purposes of health and getting the whole population healthier from that aspect of it too.
I love that.
Because I think genetic plays a huge impact that not a lot of people know that. But we all kind of talk about it in the fitness space, like, oh, it's just your genetics. But like, what does that mean?
Yeah,
like I got kind of sick of that answer where it's like, oh, he's just got good genetics. Oh, it's just bad. Like.
Yeah, I think that's like a scapegoat for a lot of people too.
It is a scapegoat.
It's like take it. That's a part of taking control of your life as well. Like we were discussing earlier, it's like, okay, if you know that it's just genetics, do something about it.
Right.
Because here's the problem: is that people say, like you're right. People have the genetic disposition of maybe having higher cholesterol in their family, but you know what else is passed down? Habits.
True.
So now you take a family that like, oh, for example, heart disease runs in my family. And a lot of it is, like my uncle was born with heart disease. Right. He was born with a valve problem or something. Knowing that, here's the thing, is that knowing that that is potential in my family, it's like, what do I want the habits to pass down? Right. This is why I say I want to end heart disease, because a lot of times it's like people have a higher risk of it. But the habits of eating fried food, what your parents fed you growing up, the stress you go through, those habits in life get passed down from generation as well. So I took that into my own hands and say, okay, I'm going to be the first one in my family to like really start going to the gym, watching what I eat, take control of that. So I think understanding your genetics is huge.
Yeah.
And then understanding how to combat that.
Yeah, it's one thing to know about it. It's another thing to do it. And I think that's I'm not saying the genetics thing is the end all be all, because it's just a marker to tell you where you're at. It's the next thing. It's the coaches like you. It's the mentors you have in your life. It's your environment. Those are the things that are going to do something about it. It's you yourselves, your mindsets, anything you consume. That's the thing that's going to be what you do about it now that you know. And so, yeah, I think it's going to be not a give and take. I think it's just a mixture of both. I think it's everything.
Yeah.
So it's like getting your blood work done, basically. It's like if you have the ability to get your blood work done, see how your hormone levels are, figure out why am I not feeling good. Yeah, you would do it. Yeah. But then you still need to do something about it. Yeah. Like you mentioned, you were feeling bad. You got the blood work, this and that. Nothing would change if you didn't do anything about it. You know about it. You got your blood work done. That's awesome. You know what you should be doing, but you have to do it. And so that's where a lot of people need some accountability in their lives.
Yeah.